Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Roseville Mystery School YouTube channel. I am Sophia Mona Lisa, the founder of this channel, and I thank you and welcome you to my channel. I will tell you, it's been a minute since I've done a video. My last video was in November, October or November. I work with the Venus synodic cycle, which has 4 phases. And so my last video was at the beginning or right before that second phase of diving into the Inanna underworld. And today we have got 3 major events happening that is going to be absolutely shifting the entire evolutionary trajectory for humanity, the consciousness of humanity. And one of those events happens to be the beginning of the 3rd phase of the Venus synodic cycle. So there's 4 phases, and we are beginning that 3rd one today. And I'll talk a little bit more about that when I get to my next slides. So again, very warm welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. Now, let's look at what's going on in the sky, because this month is just intense. If you have been feeling like which way is up, things are topsy-turvy, I don't know if I can get through this, there is a very good reason, and it's because of what's going on for us cosmically in the sky and how it is impacting our planet, Earth, Mother Gaia, and our collective consciousness, and each of us individually. So this is a complete shift that is going to probably take you the rest of your life to integrate. I know I've heard some people say, well, today is that a solar eclipse in Aquarius, right? So today is February 17th. And here we go. These are the 3 events, the solar eclipse on the Leo Aquarius axis that is happening today. And some people are saying, well, you might need to get through March when the next eclipse happens in 2 weeks. So from my perspective, let me say that I don't want you to think that it's going to be an easy ride. Couple weeks, couple months, we're going to be done with this. No, it's not. And I'll explain to you why in a minute. All right. So today, February 17th, starts the year of the fire horse. So that's a huge event happening today. Today, same day, Venus is rising as evening star, and she's rising as evening star in Pisces. This is the event that marks the beginning of that 3rd phase, the ascent phase of Venus and her synodic cycle. And this is, before I get to this, and Venus is conjunct the North Node in Pisces today. Now, if they're at 9 degrees of Pisces, and let me just tell you, this is another one of those big events that most people may not realize. This placement of Venus with the North Node at this point in the sky has not happened in 56 years. So let me tell you, 56 years ago, I was in the 1st grade, and that was a long time ago. So this is also a huge, I would say, generational or multi-generational, right? You and your parents, if you're little bitty, which probably you're not watching this, it would be, you, your parents, and your grandparents. This is a big, big event. And of course, anything with the North Node has to do with bringing humanity back onto the evolutionary path, where we're supposed to be going, where we're heading as a humanity. You can kind of think of it like the GPS in your car. If you get off the route, the little voice in the GPS says, return to the route, return to the route. And this is what the North Node does for us whenever it's connecting with us in these ways. It's getting us out of the weeds and back on our path. And it's evolving us, pushing us towards where we are intended to be evolving to. So that's a big deal. And now let's talk about this first eclipse on the Leo Aquarius axis. It's a solar eclipse. And it just so happens that this solar eclipse, which I'm going to show you the chart, is making a T-square. So that's an aspect that looks like this, right? The top of the T is the eclipse. This solar eclipse is a new moon eclipse, and I will come back to you on that in a minute. And down here at the bottom of the T, the stem of the T, is where Uranus is. We're going to see that. Now, again, I've heard other people talk about, oh, today is the solar eclipse, and today is the new moon, as if they're two separate cosmic events. And let me assure you, they are not two separate cosmic events. They are the same. Anytime you have a solar eclipse, it is happening with a new moon. Anytime you have a lunar eclipse, it's happening with a full moon. So just be aware that these are the three biggies today. The year of the fire horse, Venus rising as evening star with the North Node, which hasn't happened in Pisces at this place in 56 years, and this very first eclipse on the Leo Aquarius axis, which is initiating a whole new eclipse season. I'm going to show you that new season on another slide, okay? The next thing that's going to happen is tomorrow, in this ascent journey of Venus, we're going to have the first gate activation at the root chakra, which is the portal of manifestation. Then 2 days later, or 3 days from today, we are having this event, February 20th, Saturnia and Neptune coming together. We call that a conjunction in Aries. It's happening at 0 degrees, 45 minutes. So some people will say one degree because they'll round it up. Saturnia and Neptune have not come together in the sky at this point for 12,000 years. 12,000 years. This is why I am telling you that this event is a complete shift, a complete transformation of the collective consciousness of humanity that is changing who we are, where we're going, and it is going to take your lifetime to integrate this. All right? Now, with eclipses like the one up here, again, talking about, oh, you'll get through it in 2 weeks or 2 months. No, eclipses have a 6-month window. So for an eclipse, you need to look at what was going on 6 months ago. Then you have the day of the eclipse, and then you've got to look over the next 6 months how that evolving impulse is starting to manifest through you as you're becoming more and more aligned with the path that you're supposed to be on, okay? So getting back to what's going to happen in 3 days with this Saturnian-Neptune conjunction, this is the biggie. This is the biggie. Nothing like this has happened in 12,000 years. This is changing humanity in a whole new way. Now, what I received about this event, if you are at all aware of esotericism, perhaps Gnostic esotericism, Theosophical esotericism, there is a body of work that talks about the different root races of humanity, 7 root races. We are in what's known as the 5th root race for humanity. The 4th one was the Atlantean race. The 3rd one was the Lemurian race. So you can see in terms of the timing between Lemuria, Atlantis, and now these races, in terms of evolving humanity, happen over hundreds of thousands of years. Now, while others that study that body of work will say that the 6th root race will not happen for quite a while, I am receiving that this Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries is the beginning of starting to seed in the consciousness this 6th root race. And you can learn more about that if you go out and Google what that is. Now, then on February 27th, we're going to have Venus and Mercury retrograde in Pisces. March 3rd is that 6th eclipse, total lunar eclipse on the Virgo-Pisces axis. That's the 6th of 7 on this Virgo-Pisces axis. So this particular eclipse season is crossing over 4 years. We're in the 3rd year of this. The 7th one will happen next year. So this brand new eclipse season with Leo Aquarius starting kind of on the heels of this Virgo Pisces eclipse season ending is a big deal. We're finishing up one evolutionary impulse and beginning to go into another evolutionary impulse. And those are related to the frequencies on these axes, the Leo Aquarius frequencies, the Virgo Pisces frequencies. Now, I will tell you, I work with the Cosmic Sophia, and she has been working with me for quite a few years. And with this Virgo Pisces eclipse season, she asked me to start a mentorship program called the Sophia-Christ Mentorship Program. Prior to the Virgo Pisces eclipse season was the Leo, my mind's going, not the Leo, excuse me, the Aries Libra eclipse season. In that eclipse season, which preceded our current Virgo Pisces eclipse season, Sophia asked me to make a mentorship program related to the Aries Libra eclipse season called the Christ Heart Mentorship. And so now with this brand new Leo Aquarius eclipse season beginning, she has asked me to create this 3rd mentorship program. And the name of that mentorship program is the Christ Consciousness Mentorship Program. So you can kind of see in a progression how Sophia has been creating through me these more and more evolving and expansive mentorship programs. So from the Christ Heart Mentorship to the Sophia Christ Heart Mentorship, now to the Christ Consciousness Mentorship. And you're welcome to do that work with me. I'll put links in the description box below if that is something that interests you. Now, after March 3rd, when we have this total lunar eclipse, what's coming up on March 7th? Venus and Neptune are going to come into conjunction in Aries. And so why am I looking at this? We're looking at what's happening with Neptune and Saturnia because of this big Saturnia-Neptune conjunction. Also on March 7th, we are going to be having the Mercury inferior conjunction. It's going to happen in Pisces. The Mercury inferior conjunction happens in the middle of the retrograde part of the Mercury synodic cycle. And that day, the Mercury inferior conjunction is the most potent the most transformational event of the entire Mercury synodic cycle. And the window on that is the day before, the day of, and the day after. The very next day, we've got Venus conjuncting with Saturnia in Aries. And then we've got the second gate in the ascent of this third phase of Venus. It'll happen at the solar plexus chakra. That is the portal of creation. It's happening in Aries. So a couple things I want to point out. I know this is a lot of information for your mind to take in. First of all, tomorrow, with that first gate activation in this brand new phase, ascent journey of the Venus synodic cycle, look at all of the cosmic events that are going to be happening between now and the next gate activation. Okay, so I want you to recognize here just how much is going on. And because Saturnia and Neptune are having their conjunction in Aries, the first gate activation, along with Venus rising as evening star, are happening in Pisces. I also want you to see how much of these events are happening between Pisces and Aries, Pisces and Aries, Pisces, the 12th house, the unified source field, Aries, where we have an individuation from source, okay? Pisces, Aries. So here we've got Pisces with Venus rising as evening star. We've got Pisces with the first gate activation, Saturnia and Neptune in Aries, Venus, Mercury retrograde in Pisces. We've got the eclipse on the Virgo-Pisces axis, Venus, Neptune in Aries, Mercury inferior conjunction Pisces, Venus, Saturnia conjunction in Aries, and that second gate of the ascent journey in Aries. Look at all of those events bouncing back and forth between Pisces and Aries, Pisces and Aries, Pisces and Aries. What does this tell you? Just that piece. It tells you in terms of how we're being evolved, that we are bringing in aspects of our divine selves, aspects that we are bringing in here to our individuated self. We as human beings having we as divine beings having a human experience. We are bringing more and more of ourselves as divine beings into our human experience. And this is a foundational piece of this whole shift that Saturnia and Neptune, along with these two eclipse seasons, are using to evolve humanity. And as I said, even planting the seeds for that sixth root race to come onto the planet. And if you investigate the sixth root race, this will make sense to you. All right, so let's move forward. That was a lot of information. Oh, of all of these events in this video, I'm only going to be focused on 3 of them. And the three that I'm going to look at with you is this solar eclipse that's happening today on the Christ consciousness axis, Leo Aquarius. We're going to look at the Saturnia Neptune conjunction happening in Aries 3 days from today. And then we're going to look at this 6th eclipse, the total lunar eclipse on the Sophia-Christ pathway, Virgo-Pisces axis, which will happen 2 weeks from today. So these are the 3 biggies that we're going to look at today. So let's get into it. All right. Now, we mentioned that today is the beginning of the year of the fire horse. So I just want to make a little bit of a, speaking to that and acknowledging that. I work with both of these oracle decks, the Way of the Horse and the Council of Horses Oracle. I love them both. They are fantastic. If you've got them, I really encourage you to work with them through the year of the horse. If you don't have them and you like working with oracle cards, then I highly recommend them. I will tell you that Kim McElroy, the woman who created all of the images for the cards in the Council of Horses Oracle, is the same artist that created all of the artwork for the cards in the Way of the Horse. So I highly encourage you to use those. I actually did, even from the Council of Horses, pull a card for myself, just some guidance on what's going to be happening with me through the year of the horse, fire horse. And I was just bowled over when I received the card Pegasus. So I'm not going to go into that, but if you've got this Oracle deck, you can look at Pegasus and it'll give you a clue as to what I'm going to be experiencing over this year of the fire horse. Now, when I heard for the first time, oh, we're going to be moving into the year of the fire horse, immediately two of the cards from the Way of the Horse Oracle just like showed up, presented themselves to me. So those two cards, which are absolutely tied into this year of the fire horse and how the year of the fire horse is working with humanity at the collective level, are these two cards right here. Move this so that you can see it. There you go. This is called the Bonfire Horse. You can see all the horse faces coming out of the fire. This is called the Lion Heart wisdom. Bonfire wisdom, lion heart wisdom. Okay. I am telling you, very, very powerful. And let me just give you a little bit of insight regarding this lion heart wisdom card. Way back when I started first working with the Way of the Horse deck, in our work, we work with Epona, the Celtic horse goddess. Epona started working with me with this deck. And what came through was a desire to identify a wisdom card from this deck for the first 6 astrological signs. The first 6 astrological signs are the personal signs. The 7th through 12th are the transpersonal signs. So Epona wanted me to be able to identify for each of the personal signs one of the wisdom cards from the Way of the Horse. And this card here, the Lionheart card, is the card that she brought forward for the astrological sign of Leo. And if you know anything about Leo being ruled by the sun, you know that that is a fire energy. Okay, so that's why both of these popped into my awareness as soon as I started hearing about the year of the fire horse. Now, in the work that I was doing with Epona and the wisdom cards of the Way of the Horse, I created these slides. Let me put this down here so that you can see it. That kind of pulls out some of the wisdom from each of these two cards. And they're here for you. I'm not going to go into them. You can pause the video and you can read through it, but they will give you a really good overview feel of the energetic wisdom that each of these cards is bringing forward for the year of the fire horse. And if you do get the Way of the Horse Oracle, each card has 3 or 4 pages written by Linda Kohanov of wisdom that goes with the cards. So let me tell you, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Like I said, it's an overview. You'll notice that some of the text here is in italics, and that's because I've written it directly from what Linda Kohanov has shared about these wisdom cards. I love that it's the number 33 because we are starting today the Christ consciousness eclipse season. And of course, 33 is the number of Christ consciousness. All right, the next card that I'm going to show you Here it is. I love this card. Absolutely love this card. Is the Lionheart Wisdom card. And so again, just an overview here. Not going to dive into it for you. Please pause your video and take the time to read through this because it'll be very meaningful for you. All right, so that was my little spiel on the year of the fire horse that I wanted to share with you. So now let's look at this brand new eclipse season, Leo Aquarius. This is the eclipse season that is the foundation for the Christ Consciousness Mentorship Program that Sophia is creating through me. All right, so here you can see all of the eclipses. You'll notice that there are 6 eclipses. They're happening over 3 different years. And here's today. That's solar eclipse. All right. It is happening, if you round this up, at 29 degrees of Aquarius. I will remind you, 29 degrees of any sign is a mastery point. So out the gate, we are already being seated with this mastery energy. And Leo Aquarius is the axis of the mastery of relationship axis. So that's a huge deal. All right. So let's look at the chart for what's happening today with this solar eclipse. Oh, one more thing I wanted to point out. Look at what's happening with these eclipses. All of them are solar eclipses except for this one, which is a lunar eclipse. Okay, so out of 6 eclipses, 5 of them are solar eclipses, only 1 is a lunar eclipse. Now you'll see when I show you the chart for the Virgo-Pisces eclipse season, which is fascinating. Of the 7 eclipses, 6 of them are lunar eclipses, only 1 is a solar eclipse. This is highly, highly significant. And, I can go into that more later if you choose to work with me. All right, but I did want to mention that. Okay, so let's look at the chart. And let me find a place to put my screen right here. All right. 2 big events are happening. This is a lot of information. I'm not going to go into it in detail. Again, if you are into astrology, you're welcome to pause the screen and, look at what I'm pointing to in this chart. The big thing is this. So right here, you've got the solar eclipse. Remember what I said about solar eclipses? They are new moons. So there's the moon and the sun together. That's what it makes a new moon at the 28 degrees, 50 minutes, which we round up to 29. But I want you to notice that this eclipse is also conjunct the ascendant of this eclipse axis. Why is that important? Because the ascendant, again, coming back into the differentiation from source, is the beginning of the first house in terms of who you know yourself to be, right? People see your personality. They think that that's you, right? It's just a face. Sometimes it's a very egoic face, but that's not, in my work, first house or ascendant frequencies. No, what comes out of the source field to embody and differentiate your soul. And what did I say about what's happening right now between these 2 weeks with the eclipses on either side of that Saturnia, Neptune conjunction in Aries that hasn't happened for 12,000 years? The seeding of a brand new root race for humanity. And this eclipse in Aquarius, conjunct this ascendant, absolutely confirms for me, validates for me that information that I received from Sophia about what's happening at this time. All right, so you'll see here that the eclipse is always on an axis, right, from Aquarius to Leo. Let me tell you, Leo is the sign, one, right, of that Lionheart wisdom card, and it is the sign of, in mundane astrology, your heart chakra, in the kind of astrology that I do. Some people, you might hear them call it the higher heart. I call it, this is what Sophia gave to me, the Christ heart. This is the Christ heart sign. And notice who is in there, also conjunct the descendant, I'll get into that in a minute, is the Magdalene, and she is retrograde. I've always said any kind of retrograde energies is work that's happening within you, right? We know from the wisdom schools, the saying, as above, so below, as within, so without. So this work is happening within us so that it can then be manifested in our external reality. For me, when I work with the Magdalene, she represents your inner Sophia consciousness, your inner Sophia energies. And so with this descendant here, coming into a brand new relationship with your inner Sophia. This is huge in terms of this evolutionary shift for humanity. Why is that huge? Because I've been teaching for several years now about the Cosmic Sophia. Yeshua told me that the second coming of Christ is not him returning onto the planet in a human body. He told me that the second coming of Christ is the emergence of Sophia consciousness, right? The beloved of the Christ consciousness. They're two parts of the same consciousness field: sacred masculine, sacred feminine, Christ consciousness, Sophia consciousness. Yeshua told me that the second coming of Christ is the emergence of Sophia through humanity. And this huge shift is, we're going to see more and more of that, where she is being embodied by more and more people. She has been making this emergence over several years, which I've been talking about. And of course, it gets seeded into the collective consciousness. And then our consciousness receives that from the collective. So this is a big deal, that now we're going to start to see that the Sophia consciousness is going to become more and more embodied within individuals on the planet, which is going to be a part of that big shift, 12,000 year shift in humanity. It's going to change what we're going to see on this planet. And again, it's going to be something that's going to be evolving through you over the rest of your lifetime on this planet. Now, what I noticed is I started, one more thing. Also, this side of the eclipse is conjunct the star Regulus, which is at 0 degrees of Virgo. I'll mention this a little bit more on the next slides. So what I noticed as I started looking at what's in the sky here, all of a sudden I saw, wow, there is what I call the treasure box. Some people will refer to it as like the Chinese puzzle box. You may be familiar with those. I know growing up in Florida as a kid, when we went to Disney World, there was like a magic house, and they had the Chinese puzzle boxes where you had to learn how to push a panel and slide a panel, different, machinations of each side of it, top and bottom, to open up the puzzle box, where there is a hidden chamber inside of the puzzle box where you can put your valuables, close it up, nobody can get to them. I use that as an analogy for this astrological configuration. I call it the treasure box. Okay. There is a treasure within this treasure box that is being opened for each of us, for humanity to discover and have access to. I'm going to speak to that treasure in a minute. All right. So we've got this treasure box going on here. Big, big deal. Nobody that I know of is talking about the treasure box. Okay. So just sharing with you, I do work that's a little bit differently than most people. They are talking about this T-square. Let me find my mouse here. Are you? There you are. So this is the top of the T. That's the eclipse axis. And then it's coming down here to Uranus in Taurus. Okay. This is another clue, right? That I said we're going to start seeing more and more manifestations of individuals embodying the Sophia consciousness. Okay. For me, Taurus is all about embodiment. What is it specifically in the embodiment of? Taurus is ruled by Venus, which is all about, the goddess of love. And so we, as divine beings, from my perspective, we are our spark, the holy fire that is our spark of the source field, is that frequency of divine love that came with us from that Pisces 12th house realm. Okay. And so we are embodiments of love. And from being an embodiment of love, that flame, that inner flame, sacred flame, then has in its energy the Christ consciousness and the Sophia consciousness. Okay. So this is kind of giving you more information than I normally would get, but I kind of want to back up what I'm seeing in terms of what I'm sharing. Okay. If you decide to do the Christ Consciousness Mentorship Program with me and want to have a personal chart read related to this event, we will definitely go much, much deeper into this. All right. Now, as I was looking at each of these three events, Sophia started giving me like the elevator's pitch, right? Have you heard of that? What is your pitch? If you get in the elevator, you got like 2 minutes, to pitch somebody before they walk away. So these are my kind of elevator pitches that Sophia gave me around, the umbrella frequencies of what we see, what we're seeing here being activated in these aspects. So this is what she shared with me regarding my elevator pitch of this today's solar eclipse in Aquarius that has that treasure box and the T-square. So the treasure, right? What's in the middle? What are you opening those panels to get to the middle of that treasure box that's hidden in there? The treasure is the return of Sophia consciousness to Earth and humanity. As I said, I've been teaching for many years now, at least several, maybe 4 or 5, about the second coming being the re-emergence of Sophia through humanity. So this is the return of the Sophia consciousness to Earth and humanity. That's the treasure. And the Sophia-Christ consciousness is being fully embodied within the Christ heart. Remember that Leo energy? The Christ heart. And in my work, within the Christ heart, you have what we call the Holy of Holies. And you step into that Holy of Holies, and that's where you find and connect with your own inner flame, your own divine spark, which is the Sophia Christ consciousness. And this embodiment of the Sophia-Christ consciousness in your Holy of Holies is coming, let's say, online to liberate you. Liberation. If you're all about self-realization, ascension, that's what these energies are. Your consciousness is being evolved to liberate you from what you might hear people say, being stuck in this 3D matrix. Okay. So this is a huge, huge deal in terms of the initiation of this Leo Aquarius eclipse season. We saw that it's going to be evolving and unfolding over, did I say 3 years? I can't remember. I think I said 3 years. Let me just go back to confirm. Yeah, 3 years. So, this is not stuff that just comes and goes on a whim. This is stuff that takes time for each of us to be able to allow our physical bodies and our nervous system to, bring in these energies, absorb these energies, allow our nervous system and our bodies to be able to integrate and acclimate to these energies, then allow that process to do whatever, roto-rooter clean out it's going to happen, because there are things that we're storing within our bodies that are not at the same frequency. And so they have to be, we have to let go of those. And then, how we're going to be manifesting those new energies through us. So this is going to be happening over a 3-year period. You can get some insight into this specific eclipse of the 6 eclipses by looking at what was going on with you 6 months before today and watching what starts to show up within you, your external reality, even on the world stage 6 months from now. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share about the solar eclipse that is happening today. All right. Now, let me mention a little bit about Regulus, because, again, most people are not acknowledging that eclipse axis is engaging the star Regulus. Now, a couple of interesting, synchronicities here. Regulus is in the constellation Leo, right? There's a constellation Leo and there's an astrological sign of Leo. 2 different things. So Regulus, it's a royal star, is in the constellation Leo. Another tie back to why the Lionheart Wisdom card from the Way of the Cross Oracle presented itself to me. And it is now at 0 degrees of Virgo. So very closely conjunct the eclipse point, which is 29 degrees. Okay. You go from 29 degrees of one sign to 0 degrees of the next sign. So this has to be considered because the frequencies of this royal star are informing the treasure box, informing the T-square, informing what the umbrella effect that Sophia gave me here is going on with us. All right. So I wanted to give you a little bit of information about the frequencies of Regulus. And this description comes from the website called Pegasus Products. I love this website. They have starlight elixirs. They have flower essences, gem essences. I don't make anything off of them, but I do encourage you to go out to Pegasus Products and look at what they've got. So this is what they have to say about the frequencies of Regulus. This star has vibrations that are able to unblock deeply buried subconscious patterns. Why is that important? Well, let's look back at the chart. This eclipse is in Aquarius, and for me, Aquarius is the higher mind. This is your Sophia-Christ consciousness mind, okay? In order to go from the lower mind, the egoic mind, which Gemini represents, to the higher mind, right, where your Sophia-Christ consciousness is, You've got to be able to get out, let go of all of these deeply buried subconscious patterns. And we know that they are there because we've inherited them through our family lineages. There has been beliefs that our society has indoctrinated us in. You could go as far as saying mind control programs, but let's keep it kind of uplifted here. But this stuff is real in terms of the 3D. We are evolving up and out of 3D into 5D plus. This stuff cannot go with us. Okay. I call it like the tar baby syndrome. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that story from childhood, but I think it's the rabbit gets caught in the tar baby, and the more that he tries to fight against the tar baby to get free, the more the tar baby just, basically strangles him and keeps him a prisoner. So please, no racist comments regarding that analogy. I am not a racist in any way, shape, or form. It was a story from childhood that is a really good analogy in terms of what happened in the story about these deeply buried subconscious patterns. All right, going on, it says there can be more perseverance, greater emotional stability, and a willingness to look at such patterns. Yeah, you need this. Most people, I call these patterns, the shadow aspect, which comes from Carl Jung's work. Most people don't want to look at their shadow, right? They project it onto others. But in order to clear this stuff out, you've got to be able to look at your shadow and how it's showing up with you, how it is triggering you. And the frequencies of this star allow you to not only be able to look at it, see it, understand what it comes from, and then to let it go. This is a huge deal that this royal star is a part of today's solar eclipse. Continuing on, it says, after a while, what comes forth is the natural understanding of such patterns, an ability to express them, and the capacity to accept what others might suggest that one examine and learn about. So this is a big piece of today's solar eclipse that, again, I haven't seen. I mean, I don't see everything. There might be somebody out there talking about it, but from what I've heard and what, and I don't see everything, but I see a lot. Nobody that I've been watching has talked about this piece. So it's important for you to be aware of it. All right. Speaking of shadow, right? This is what today is helping kick off as well. This Saturnia-Neptune conjunction that's happening in Aries 3 days from today has been, right? They've been going in and out of Aries and Pisces very closely. They already came close together in Aries, not an exact conjunction like on the 20th. So their conjunction with each other back and forth through Pisces and Aries has been happening, and these frequencies have been impacting us. And I can tell you that I am seeing on the world stage, just watch the news, you can't miss it, all kinds of manifestations of the shadow aspects of the frequencies of Saturnia and Neptune and these Aryan frequencies. Remember, Aries is ruled by Mars. And so, you've got 4 frequencies working together here that is creating this major evolutionary shift for humanity. And like I said, you got to clear out the closet, got to let go of the yucky stuff before you can move forward. So I have actually been witnessing in the news on the world stage all kinds of manifestations of the shadow aspects of these 4 frequencies that are coming into, like Regulus says, into our awareness so that we can deal with them. All right. I'm not going to focus on the shadow aspects, not to ignore them, but because I like to keep my work uplifted, I would say pause this video, write all this stuff down, be aware of it, okay? Because some of this may be coming up within you, and you may be able to identify also what's happening on the world stage related to these. What I'm focusing on is we know that this is a major, major evolutionary shift in humanity, which means our world is being evolved and is going to look very different from what we've been experiencing. Okay, so with shadow in a dualistic world, you have light. These are the light aspects of the frequencies of Saturnia, Neptune, Aries, and its ruler Mars. Now, these shadow and light examples that I'm providing, they are not inclusive. If you get an inspirational hit of, oh, this is what's showing up for me as a shadow piece of this event, or a light, an enlightened piece of this event, trust your guidance, because there are infinite numbers of ways that these frequencies can come together and manifest as shadow and light. So again, these are not exhaustive. They're just some starting points, right? For you to bounce off of. Always trust your guidance, whatever's coming in for you. So again, not going to go deep into this for you. Go ahead and pause this and take note of it however you want to. If you would like to have a reading related specifically to this event, I'm happy to do that for you, and we will go deeper into this, okay? But I just want to make you aware of what's happening with this event on both the shadow side and the light side in order to facilitate and support this major evolutionary shift for humanity on our planet. All right, let's look at the chart. Here we go. So this is where Saturnia and Neptune are. I said, 0 degrees, 45 minutes, right there. So almost 1 degree. You might hear people say that, and that's correct. Here they are. In fact, see, I notated it here too. All right, here they are. Notice that in this chart, this event is happening in the 11th house. This is important because the 11th house is about the collective consciousness of humanity. It is about liberation. It is about ascension. It is about revolutionary technologies and spiritual truths coming onto our planet. Okay, so that's a huge deal. That solar eclipse that happened in Aquarius today, 11th house. All right, the solar eclipse axis making the T-square to Uranus. Uranus is the ruler of the 11th house. So in these two events, we are really being like immersed in these frequencies, these Aquarian frequencies. In fact, this just came to me from Sophia. She gave me some information about an event that happened in January, and she had me call it the rebirth of the Aquarian archetype. I wrote a whole blog post about it. I'll put a link to that blog post in the description too. I encourage you to read it. And she encouraged me to create a whole new visual graphic of the Aquarian water bearer archetype. So I've never used AI before, but I thought, what the heck? I see other people creating images with AI. I'll give it a shot. And I will tell you that what I was able to create came very close to what I was seeing in my mind. I tried to tweak it in different ways and in terms of what I was seeing, and I couldn't quite get there. But I will say, in terms of traditional depictions of the Aquarius water bearer archetype, I believe that you will see a difference in this image, and you will feel a difference energetically in this image. So I encourage you to go out to that blog post. I'll put the link below, read about it, and look at that image. Okay, So that's a huge deal that this is happening in the 11th house. All right. Now, again, I'm not going to go into all of these aspects that are going on here. But I do want to point to, because, you know, their conjunction is aspecting Pluto, aspecting Osiris, the cosmic Christ, and Epona, right? The Celtic horse goddess Epona, and aspecting the sun. But what I do want to bring your attention to is that the trine between these two sets of frequencies that the conjunction is engaging. Aquarius to Gemini, air signs, it's a trine. All right. One of the wisdom cards that Epona brought forward to me as the representative wisdom for Gemini is this herd wisdom card. Again, I'm not going to go into it. You can pause and read through it, but you will see that this herd wisdom is very much describing what the manifestation of working in a unified consciousness way looks like. And so that's very much a part of what's happening with these events. Pisces itself is the unified consciousness field. Okay, so bringing all of that in. Pluto in Aquarius, I've long said for years and years and years, is evolving humanity out of separation consciousness into unity consciousness. So I encourage you to read this herd wisdom related to Pluto and Epona that are in aspect to the Saturnia-Neptune conjunction. What I will tell you is when you're thinking of Pluto, remember that Pluto is a potent energy, and it's working together in a trine with the cosmic Christ. For me, Osiris is the cosmic Christ, Isis is the cosmic Sophia, which you'll see. Here's Isis. Yeshua is your inner Christ. Magdalene is your inner Sophia, right? As above, so below, as within, so without. So Pluto in my work is very potent because it's an alchemical energy. And if you haven't worked with the, you know, the 7 steps, really there's a secret 8 step of alchemy. You may not be familiar with it, but most people are either aware of like the Tower card in the Tarot, very much a part of the Plutonian energies. And you may have heard the expression, the phoenix rising from the ashes. Very much Plutonian, so it's death, regeneration, rebirth. Okay, so those are the frequencies that are engaging with this shift of humanity in terms of, in a very harmonious way, bringing in, again, the Christ consciousness. I'm saying Sophia-Christ consciousness. Look at where the cosmic Sophia is. First house. Okay, look at where the cosmic Christ is, 12th house. From unified source, whatever you call God, goddess, the divine, into the embodiment of us as human beings. Now, with my work, Christ and Sophia are one and the same, right? Because they are unified. They're a unified field of consciousness. And then we can identify the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine within them, but they are unified. And the analogy that I use for this is like a coin, right? It is a coin, but the coin has the heads and the coin has the tail. And if I asked you to give me a quarter, you don't say, well, here's the tail of the quarter. You say, here's a quarter. Okay. So I want you to understand how in my work, I'm dealing with the cosmic Christ and the cosmic Sophia. All right. Okay. So here, oh, I didn't remember that I had put this in here for you. Here's the herd wisdom card in a larger frame. So again, instead of trying to pause and read this little bitty version, you can pause and read this larger version of the herd wisdom. I mean, just amazing validations of everything that I receive from Sophia in terms of wisdom, but also in terms of translating the frequencies when I look at charts. All right. So this is the elevator, right? The elevator speech that Sophia gave me regarding the Saturnia, Neptune conjunction and its aspects to the Sun, the Cosmic Christ, and Epona and Pluto, okay? So this event is all about the rebirth of Christ consciousness and herd wisdom, which is unity consciousness, in the collective consciousness and minds of humanity. When I say that, I'm talking about the collective consciousness of humanity and in the minds of us as individuals being a part of humanity, liberating humanity and us individually from those shadow aspects, from what we're seeing on the world stage, where people are going, oh my gosh, what's happened to our world? Everything is upside down. I don't know how much more of this I can take. So this event is liberating us through this Christ consciousness, this unity consciousness coming into the collective and also into our lower minds, lifting us into our higher minds, okay? So what's happening is that all of these shadow aspects are being illuminated, okay? All right. What I would encourage you to do is certainly be aware of the shadow aspects that are being illuminated by this event and take it a step further. I encourage you to start doing some visioning. Anytime you see a luminary body retrograding, that retrograde phase is like a vision quest phase. Absolutely, with all of the Aquarian energies we're seeing, Aquarius, 11th house, Uranus, all about visioning the future. So I encourage each of you, if you have access to your own solar return chart, look at where the points of these events in the sky are touching your solar return chart to see what luminary bodies in your chart are being engaged with those frequencies in the sky. And more importantly, what solar house is that impacting? Because what you can do is you can take the theme of the house, right? Like 7th house, relationships, 8th house, power, sovereignty, let's say 5th house, Christ heart. You know, each house has a theme for its frequencies. Use the themes of the houses in your solar return chart to help you vision those illuminated aspects of this conjunction, because you have the ability to create that. It is in your chart. That chart is a soul map, right? So you are creating in collaboration with your divine self those illuminated visions of where you would like to see humanity evolving towards, especially if you're very excited about, you know, the new Earth or, you know, fifth degree plus kind of work. Use your visioning, trust the inspiration that you're receiving, and put your energy into focusing on manifesting those illuminated aspects of this Saturnia-Neptune conjunction, and just be aware of the shadow stuff that's manifesting, you know, on the world stage, within your neighborhood, within your family, at work. It'll help you to get through this. Trust me, but don't get caught in it, right? Don't get caught in the shadow aspects. Be aware of them, but keep your focus on the visioning that you're doing to manifest those illuminated aspects of this conjunction that is seeding this whole new shift, 12,000 years shift in humanity, okay? That's my recommendation. If you don't know how to do that, again, you can do a reading with me, and I'm happy to work on that with you. All right, let's talk about the last event, which is going to happen in 2 weeks on March 3rd. It is that total lunar eclipse in Virgo. And notice here how long this eclipse season has been going on. It's been going on since September of 2024. That's how long it's been going on. Look at this eclipse season. Not only is it going over 4 years, which I don't even know the last time I saw an eclipse season go over 4 years, but also it has 7 eclipses. Normally I see about 6 eclipses. You know, I don't know how rare it is to have 7 eclipses, but when you see 7 eclipses, it's something to take note of. All right. Again, like I told you earlier, of these 7 eclipses, 6 of them are lunar eclipses, only 1 solar eclipse. Very different from this now Leo Aquarius eclipse season. 5 solar eclipses, 1 lunar eclipse. Okay, so this is a big deal that needs to be considered when you're looking at what's happening with these eclipse seasons and how you're being evolved by them. Again, too much to go into right now. All right, and it's happening at, we round this up, 13 degrees of Virgo. Now, I don't know if I've shared this piece, but Sophia told me that the Virgo-Pisces axis is the Sophia-Christ axis, which is why she created the Sophia-Christ mentorship program with me. And if you're interested in doing this mentorship program, it doesn't matter. I always recommend starting at the beginning and going through. It doesn't matter that that this 5th, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I put 6th and it's 5th. I'm sorry about that. It's the 5th eclipse. These kind of typos happen. It doesn't matter that we're going to be experiencing the 5th eclipse in 2 weeks, because like I said, these eclipses have like a window of a year. And actually, after the eclipse happens, you can kind of go back and have a better, what they say, 2020 perspective of how this was evolving you, and how it was the manifestation of that new evolution was showing up through you. So I encourage you. This is a great mentorship program. We can start with this one, and then we can go back and work our way through. Not a problem. You can do more than one at the same time, right? Because today is the solar eclipse on the Christ consciousness mentorship path. 2 weeks is this one on the Virgo-Pisces Sophia-Christ mentorship path. You can work with more than one at one time. I got that okay directly from Sophia. All right. So let's look at the chart. Let's see what's going on in 2 weeks. What did I say about a lunar eclipse? A lunar eclipse is a full moon, right? They're not separate events. You cannot have a lunar eclipse unless it is a full moon. Goes back to this like 2 sides of the same coin thing. So if you hear people talking about them as 2 separate events, they're not. All right. So how do we know it's a full moon? We've got the moon over here in Virgo at 13 degrees, and the sun over here in Pisces, right? It's this opposition between the moon and the sun that gives you the full moon. It's the conjunction of the moon and the sun that gives you the solar eclipse. Did I say that right? Sometimes I hear stuff in my head and it doesn't come right. Let me repeat this. Opposition of moon and sun, full moon, lunar eclipse. Conjunction, moon and sun, new moon, solar eclipse. Okay, that's what you need to keep in mind. All right. Now, we know that eclipses are evolutionary because the north and south nodes are involved with them. All right. So what do we see here? Once again, we see that this eclipse, just like the first one, is engaging the first house, and it is engaging, I didn't put it here, the ascendant, right? 7 degrees, 35 minutes, very close to 8 degrees in, I can't read the minutes there, so about a degree. So this side of the eclipse in Pisces, engaging the first house energies, engaging the ascendant, just like we saw with today's solar eclipse. Now, unlike today's solar eclipse, which is engaging 6th house energies, this one is engaging the 7th house frequencies. So we've gone from, what's going on in our Christ heart and embodying it to now having a whole brand new relationship with it. Okay. The big event here is both the moon is making an aspect to Jupiter. Sekhmet is making an aspect to both Jupiter and the sun and the north node. So without going into all of this, you need to be aware of this Sekhmet square Jupiter. And it's retrograde. What did I say? Anything retrograde is doing transformational work within you. It's also a good time for vision questing. Squares are all about breakthroughs in consciousness. Now, if you've got a lot of shadow coming up because of the square, you might experience a breakdown in consciousness. But from what I've seen here, everything is supported for breakthroughs in consciousness. So Sekhmet as a goddess, you see her right here, lion goddess, right? A Leo goddess. A lot of people refer to her in terms of rage, retribution, and I will tell you, 3 Venus synodic cycles ago, during the Inanna underworld phase, she came to me and she said, I no longer want to be identified as a goddess of rage and retribution. That is not who I am. These frequencies, these aspects of the feminine and masculine that we call gods and goddesses, they evolve just like we do. And she said, I want to be known as the goddess of mercy and compassion. Well, think of that, right? If she's a Leo goddess, which is all about the Christ heart, what's in the Christ heart? Your Holy of Holies. What's in the Holy of Holies? Your divine spark, which is your Sophia-Christ consciousness. What is that going to be? Mercy and compassion, right? So think about this. She is in this first house. So this breakthrough in consciousness that you're going to have is going to be a breakthrough, right? Not a breakdown, because the goddess of mercy and compassion is making sure that you are supported in a way to facilitate the breakthrough. Notice again, like I showed you on that first slide, of all of those events happening between the first gate of Venus tomorrow and the second gate of Venus at the end of March. Pisces, Aries, Pisces, Aries, Pisces, Aries. Here we go again. Pisces, Aries. This is a big deal. All right. She is making this square to Jupiter retrograde, that inner work. Cancer is all about, of course, the divine mother. It's all about, your feelings, your emotional, intelligence. Look where Jupiter is. 5th house. 5th house is that Christ heart, the house of the Christ heart. Okay. So this is like, I call it scaffolding, where energies, houses, luminary bodies, they are repeating the frequencies that are related to each other. For instance, like the Uranus, 11th house, Aquarius. When you're getting a lot of that, that's a scaffolding of those energies that is taking you higher. Again, here, Christ heart work. Sekhmet, goddess of the Christ heart, goddess of Leo, ruler of 5th house, scaffolding. Okay, this is a big deal. Jupiter is known as the cosmic guru. Now, a lot of people are familiar with external gurus, like gurus in India. Guru is another name of a teacher, so they might like get into, a yoga practice or a breathing practice, and whomever they're being trained by, Reiki practice, whoever is, training them, certifying them, they might consider that teacher a kind of a guru. This is not what I'm talking about here. You are your own guru, right? You are a spark of the divine. There's no better guru than the divine. Your inner flame is your guru. Your inner Sophia-Christ is your guru. And what does Jupiter do? It expands everything that it comes into contact with. So the Christ heart expanding, the mercy and compassion from Sekhmet expanding. All right. Your relationship with your Christ heart and your inner Sophia-Christ expanding. And it's now that it's supposed to happen because we've got the North Node here, conjunct the ascendant. This is the perfect time in your life, in the history of humanity, for this to happen. Okay, so be aware of that. Again, if you want to do the Sophia-Christ mentorship program, get a reading on this, how it is influencing you, particularly in terms of your own unique evolution, happy to do that with you. The links will be below. So the elevator speech for this event from Sophia. All right, let me move this over here. Breakthroughs in consciousness regarding who you are. Why is that important? We are not humans having a human experience. We are divine beings having a human experience. This is a major shift, paradigm shift for many, many people who haven't even woken up to the fact that they are a divine being, that there is a flame, an inner flame that is a spark of the divine within them. Okay, so this is huge for humanity. Everybody needs to wake up to the fact that we are divine beings. Yeshua himself said, these things that I do, you too will do, and even greater. Why? Because we are embodiments of divine love. We are embodiments of Sophia-Christ, just as he is, just as Magdalene is. Okay, so breakthroughs in consciousness regarding who you are and how you know yourself, right? Having this awareness that, oh my gosh, I'm a divine being. Well, then how you come to know yourself as an embodiment of the divine, of the expression of the divine through you, that's a whole other thing. And it's going to be happening. If you are at all familiar with the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, the charioteer, they talk about how Krishna, the flute player, right? You are the flute player. You are the flute. Your sacred temple that is embodying this divine flame is the flute that Krishna is playing. He uses his breath to play the flute, the breath of God moving through you to make that beautiful divine music. That's who we all are. Okay? Now, this is going to be happening, this breakthrough in consciousness, this new understanding of how you know yourself and who you are is going to allow you to come into deeper relationship with the Sophia-Christ consciousness of your inner flame, and through your own divine aspects of mercy and compassion that are being illuminated and expanded. Okay? Anytime you see anything out there, mercy, compassion, love, you are that. I am that. I am. Anytime you see any external manifestation of the sacred feminine, the sacred masculine, Shiva, Shakti, Rama, Krishna, Ganesha, Isis. You are that. And when I first realized this, if I would be maybe doing a Ganesha mantra, I would speak to Ganesha as the Ganesha within me, getting rid of that separation consciousness, bringing it into unity consciousness, the Ganesha within me, the Christ within me, the Sophia within me. Okay? Everything, every luminary body and the frequencies that it contains are within you. All right? So, your own inner Sophia-Christ, that from your divine flame, has these divine aspects of mercy and compassion that Sekhmet, the goddess, wants to be known for. Those divine aspects within you are going to be illuminated and expanded through this total lunar eclipse and that square of Sekhmet to Jupiter, where both sides of the eclipse are aspecting those luminary bodies. Okay, big deal. All right, so that was a lot. I think I said more than I intended to. I wanted this to be a quickie, but it never turns out to be a quickie. So if you've stayed with me this far, then I know it's been meaningful to you. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for sticking with me. I hope that you appreciate the work that's coming through me by Sophia. I hope that it provides wisdom for you on your own evolutionary path. And if you've liked this video, you know, they all say it. If you could give it the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. We know that that algorithm is out there. We want everyone on the planet at this time when humanity is going through this major 12,000-year shift to see this information, to see this wisdom, to start being activated by this knowledge. So subscribing to the channel, liking the video, sharing it with your friends helps that happen. So finally, I just want to leave with you here. This is my website, the Golden Ray Center. I've had this Golden Ray Center, I don't even know, I want to say close to 30 years. And when my own personal guru, Sathya Sai Baba, inspired this Golden Ray Center through me, this is like the tagline that I was given: an Aquarian Age goddess temple for restoring the culture of sovereignty and sacred relationship. Everything that I bring forward through my blog, my blogs, through the Rosewell Mystery School is related to restoring sovereignty and sacred relationships. So you can find me at goldenraycenter.com. Of course, you're already here on my YouTube channel, the Rosewell Mystery School. So again, thank you very much. And who knows when I'll see you again? Maybe it'll be at the beginning of the 4th Venus phase, the metamorphic underworld. We'll see. I go strictly by what Sophia guides me to do. So take care. I send you all my love, and I look forward to hearing from you. Please make a comment. I love comments, and I'm happy to respond to you. Thank you so much, beloveds. Bye-bye.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.